also have NumPy. There are some other different ways, types of things you can do with arrays. So remember we talked about shapes. So you could do np. So this is what we call np.zeros. So I want to get an array that is filled with only zeros. I could say, okay, let me do a 3-dimension array. By the time I do this, np.zero, zeros, not zeros, yeah. So it's more like creating an creating a NumPy array that has the shape of 3, but is filled with only zeros. I can do np.zeros this, and I do, let's say I want to make it 3 by 4. What does this return? So I have an array with 3 rows and 4 columns, but everything is filled with zeros. I can decide to do this by, let's say, 3 again, so it will be like a 3-dimensional array. I could also do np.ones, let's say 3, 5, so it will be filled with ones. I hope I've not lost anybody. I know NumPy can be crazy. Then I could also reshape. So remember, I have let's say I have A as this. I could do a.reshape. So I want to change this from 1 dimension to 2 dimension. I could just do this, reshape, then specify the shape I want to make it. Let's say I want to make it 2 by 2. Yeah, so now I've moved it from rather than having 1 dimension. If I put the n dimension with this, it has changed to 2 dimension, where initially n dimension, a dimension was 1. Yeah, so with that reshape, so there are different methods you could try out with a NumPy array. So that's like an assignment where you go through and read up on different things you would do with NumPy. NumPy is very important because it's more like a backbone to pandas I'll be talking about shortly, to matplotlib and some complex libraries will be dealing with Python. So just having the understanding of how NumPy works would help you a long run. So there's also what we call other things you could also do. You could do a.arrange. So it's to get a range of numbers between 0 and 4. So if I do a.arrange, np, not a, no, sorry, np, not. So numpy.arrange rather, sorry. So it gives me a range of numbers from 0 to 3. So remember, the 4th one will not be included. So I could also do np.arrange click. So I want to get numbers between, let's say if I do this, specify the first item to where you want to start from, where you want to end, and the total number of the steps between both of them. So I'll print out to see what this starts. So I start from 2. Remember, the 10th one will not be picked, but it picks it from 2, 3, 4. So the step. So if I make this 2, for example, it goes into move. So this is the first where you're starting from, where you're stopping, and the step you want to go. So I can say, okay, I want to create a new variable called z. Z is equal to this arrange. Yeah, so if I print out z, this is what z will give to me. So there's also what we can do. There's also the np.random. If I do numpy.random, so it's kind of giving me a random number. Yeah, specifying between the shapes. So I could do, let's say give me a random number. This shape is too much. Let me do 3 by 2. So it's like give me a random number with this shape, 3 and 2. So I have 3 rows and 2 columns. What does this return? So it gives me different random number between 0 and 1. So if I print this again, you see the number change. So it's just different random numbers. With one thing I want to pick out, why I came here, is there's what we call random seed, trying to lock. So for example, one thing you do with code is that it's been replicable. So if somebody wants to do this, the person should be able to do it. But if, for example, I run this random 20 times, it gives me 20 different numbers. But there's something we call np.seed. So if I specify np.seed, let's say it's equals to 10, you could use any number, and I call this. If I run this, for example, Okay. np.random.seed. I think yes, so random.seed rather than just np.seed. np.random.seed is set it. So if I run this 20 times, it still gives me the same thing. Rather, if I'm running this, the more I run it, the more it's changing. What this seed does is it sets this to a particular seed so that if somebody else takes this and runs this exact thing, you will still get this exact number. If I change this, to example, to 100, so if I run it 20 times, it doesn't change. So it's more like fixing the numbers you're having so that it does not shift, move about whatever, however you want to move it. Without the random seed, for example, when I do random, you can pick the first random number, let's say in the first shelf. Let's put it in different shelves. When I run it again, you can rather than picking the one in the first shelf, you can go and pick the one in the third shelf. So that's why it keeps changing. But if I say, okay, specify 100, give me the one in 100, the 100 shelf. That's what that seed does. The 100 shelf in my, let's say, wherever it's being stored. So by the time you specify, it's always going to give you that 100 rather than picking different random numbers everywhere. So it does not, you can do random seed 1. By the time you run that 1, it returns the same thing. I could say, let me do 5, for example, to see it to change, and it will not change again because this is like the random number using that shape in that shell called 5.